I went out and tried to do something I've never done before, a bounce off the floor, bounce off the glass, and try to catch it and dunk.
Mm-hmm.
I got close, I think.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the OT and OT podcast, the show where we go overtime on all things sports and off topic on everything else. Today's episode is going to be very special because I have a new guest, or my very first guest, that is my younger brother, Kyson. Kyson, thanks for coming on the show.
What's going on?
Appreciate it. Okay, I have talked personally about my own, sports stories, some personal things that I've gone through, whatever. So today I want to ask you, because our sports resumes are a little bit different in terms of timeline, things that we've done that are different. So basically I just want to get your point of view on some things, where you kind of started, how you felt about certain things, and we're going to end off with maybe something kind of controversial. So the first place I wanted to start was, where did all this begin? Where was your sports origination story? What was the earliest memory you have of playing or just being associated with sports?
I remember even just starting off with basketball. I know I did wrestling before, but the earliest thing I can remember is really basketball. And that started in second grade, playing in a rec league, and just basketball has always been a staple in my life.
Okay, so where would you, do you remember, because I've talked to, I also, other than wrestling, started with basketball, and I referenced, playing in grandma and grandpa's driveway. Is that something you remember more so early on, or is it playing with your rec league team? Is that more of a first memory?
Definitely the rec league is my first memory. I don't think I started playing outside in grandma and grandpa's backyard till a little bit later.
Yeah. I had mentioned, I don't know if I've mentioned on the podcast or not yet, but I talked about when we first started playing basketball in the yard or in the driveway, we had, I don't even know if it was an old bike rim or it was something that all the spokes were cut out of. Do you remember that? And we had nailed it onto the door of the shed.
Yeah, on the shed. I do remember that a little bit, but
yeah.
Then I remember her thrifting an actual basketball hoop or something.
Yeah, I think that was
where most of my remembering was
right.
from. But I do remember that old rim on the shed.
And I think that was probably closer to my fourth or fifth grade year that we had it was literally nailed on the door. But then it was probably my seventh grade year. I think we got the basketball hoop there as well. Yeah. So take us through your journey through basketball. You played from second grade, and I also remember going to those games, watching, because I also was part of a rec league team at that time. So take us through kind of the whole journey from second grade, because that's a long 10 years plus playing basketball on a team with the same kids the majority of the time.
Yeah. So yeah, we had the same kids, and also I had the same coach for, I think, from second to eighth grade. I had the same coach, so that helped a lot.
Right.
Having him be able to help us through everything and see our progress and see how much better of players we have been. And I don't remember a whole lot of the actual playing in the rec league. I remember going to the spot in Idle Falls and getting the jerseys the day of.
Right.
And not a whole lot of gameplay that I remember, but I remember just the little weird details like that.
Right.
And then going into sixth grade, I think, is when junior high basketball starts for the school.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I started to remember a lot. And I just got glasses going into the sixth grade year, so that was a little weird change. I had to wear goggles and
I'm gonna try to find a picture of that and I'm gonna clip it in here.
Yeah, it was kind of rough, bad years before contact.
Yeah.
But we always had a decent basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
I was always on the taller end, and I was kind of goofy with big feet, so that was kind of sucky for a while.
Right.
And then
you kind of grew into it.
Yeah,
after.
I definitely grew into it, but there's going into districts of 7th and 8th grade year. We did okay. We just couldn't. We never beat Firth until my freshman year. Then our freshman year, we only lost 2 games, and we had one of my best friends now came back from Oregon. He left in 2nd grade.
Right.
Came back from Oregon, and he was a huge part of that team. And that was the first year we had a different coach.
Yeah.
But it was awesome.
Yeah.
We did super well that year.
So to give like some clarity, like, so I was a senior when Kyson was a freshman. So I was able to watch, a little bit of his high school, games his freshman year. And then we had the same C team coach,
Yep.
and then the same varsity coach. Well, I had the same varsity coach as him for 2 years of when I was in high school. I had a different varsity coach my sophomore year. But yeah, so having, this same consistent coach, I think did help a lot. Your class was very big into basketball.
Yeah.
Like you had at least 7 kids that
We
played
had
continuously.
7 guys that
Yeah.
was just every single year came back
Yeah.
and played. And yeah, the same coach from 2nd to 8th, different coach freshman year, and then I can't remember if he came back
Yeah, he was the JV
for
coach.
JV. So 2nd to 8th, and then my sophomore and my junior year I played varsity. So yeah, I had a lot of years of the same
Yeah.
coach, and even on varsity he sat on the bench with us and
Right.
still helped us out. So
Yeah. And I talked about this on the last episode. Like I started coaching basketball. I think it was your junior year. Maybe it was your sophomore year or senior year. I can't remember.
I think senior.
I think senior year as well, yeah. So the winter of 2020 is when I started coaching. So I was able to actually be on the sidelines on the coaching staff, watching your senior season, and I just remember. Well, no, I was a coach your junior actually because I started in 2019.
Oh,
So I was a coach 2019, 2020. So I was able to watch you for 2 years, and I feel like that's when your height came into play. I mean, you grew a bunch. Because you were probably like 5'4", 5'5" freshman year.
I had a huge jump from freshman to sophomore year.
Yeah, and then I just feel like after I left and I graduated, like you had grown like 5 or 6 inches
Yep.
in the next year. So that like by the time you were a sophomore, late in the year, junior, like you were taller than me at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not short. Like I'm 6 foot. You're 6'3".
Yep, 6 feet
Yeah.
right now.
So like it was cool to watch because I was able to take part, in your junior, senior year. I was a C team coach, so I didn't really coach exactly, but it was fun to be able to watch you and, be able to experience that together. But, unfortunately it didn't end exactly how everybody would have wanted. But you had probably, in my opinion, probably one of the best teams athletically that our school has ever had.
Yeah, we definitely had the talent to go
Yeah.
all the way to the top, but
Yeah.
we couldn't do it,
Right.
and that's okay. But it was a good experience to have. We didn't get to play with each other when I was a freshman. You were a senior.
Yeah.
Didn't even really get to practice with each other. But then for you to come back as a coach it was awesome.
Yeah.
Have you on the sidelines. We didn't really again see each other at practice, but on the sidelines it was huge.
Yeah, it was a cool thing because our dynamic growing up was so different that I feel like a lot of other siblings, like we were super close like when we were younger, and then kind of like there was some weird disconnect later on, and then
Yeah.
like obviously now like we're a lot closer than we have been in the past. But yeah, it was just a cool experience to be able to be there and to see you advance in the game of basketball. And there was like I could tell, like I feel like I was a pretty good, decent ball player, but then just like watching you, like I know I stated like multiple times, like overall, like your game developed so much, and your height and your ability like grew so much from the time that I just remember watching you play, that I had stated multiple times, like I felt like you were much more developed overall basketball player than I was, so that was cool to watch. But yeah, I mean, even now you still are developing your game. You play
Yep.
quite often.
Yep.
I mean, with the shoulder injury, it kind of
Yep.
affected that a little bit, but you've played a lot of basketball in the last
I
couple of years
I
since you graduated.
definitely played a lot of ball. And I wish I had the talent I do right now.
Yeah,
In high
back
school,
then, yeah, for sure.
it'd be crazy to see the difference because I was still trying to figure it out. I
Yeah,
still hadn't developed a decent three ball, and my dribbling it wasn't there.
right,
But I was a big post guy in high school,
right,
and now it's more of a three guard
right.
is what I.
Yeah, because I mean, we come from a small school, so the availability of
Yeah.
bigs is super
Yeah, our
limited.
bigs were me, and I was 6'2",
Yeah,
180,
yeah.
and I was a 4 or 5 guard
Well,
or
yeah, and I've
five.
talked before, like, I was usually bringing the ball up the floor if possible at most times.
Yeah,
I'm like a normal guard size, so it makes sense for that. But like, I also would, post up every now and then. So it just sucks that that's the position you're in just because of the school that we went to.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, basketball, I think, is what kind of, gave us that relationship early on, like when we were kids and stuff, because that was an easy sport to play, just 1v1 all the time. But then, yeah, just like watching you play even now is like, it's super cool because, I've seen the experience that you've gotten and the amount of growth that I've seen. It's just been so cool to watch, and it's been really fun. So, um, but I obviously know, you have other sports that you did and were super passionate about. And I feel like, I know like my first associated sport that I put myself in was football. Like I didn't play basketball until sixth grade on a team. I played football from fourth grade. Same with you.
yeah. Since fourth
So
grade.
I mean, kind of same thing. Let's walk through, where football started, compare, your likeness of football to basketball. Is there a difference between the two? Like, what are your feelings on this?
So the first memory I have of basketball was in grandma's yard,
Hmm.
or of football. I was in grandma's yard,
Yeah,
playing. You had your pads. I wasn't old enough to play yet, and we would either have me helmet, you shoulder pad, or vice versa, and just playing kick return
yeah,
in the yard. And that's where my love of football came from. Really, is just having that experience young and seeing our uncle's pictures on the wall at grandma's house, and that sort of stuff was really like what made me want to play football.
right.
And then fourth grade, started playing football again, same coach as basketball, from fourth to sixth, and then I had 1 year where it was a different coach, um, but then this other coach came back. The first coach came back until eighth grade. But I don't really have very many memories from grid kid football.
Yeah, I was the same
Um,
way. I couldn't remember many things.
yeah,
So
it's really just
yeah,
11 kids running around.
yeah,
The other team just tries to tackle, or
yeah,
yeah, it was just not very organized that I remember.
yeah. I mean, our stories are very similar. Like I even said the same thing. Like just having our uncle there, like our age difference isn't much different than ours. So I was able to do the same thing. Like he would bring his pads, give them to me, say, "Hey, throw these on. We're gonna go play in the yard." So it's kind of the same thing. And I even said the same. Like I don't remember much from Grid Kid, but like I remember the majority of high school and how that went. But even then, like our high school experiences were very different
Yeah,
than each other. Like we had the same coach for 2 years, and then you had new
new
head
coaches.
coach after that,
Yeah,
after your sophomore year.
yeah. So yeah, then high school came, and we just had a JV and a varsity. We don't have a freshman team, so
Right.
we're just kind of thrown in the mix with, I mean, some juniors, even not very many, but
Hmm.
anywhere from juniors to freshmen on the same team. So it was kind
Right.
of little old freshmen, and then just kind of some bigger dudes. That was kind of intimidating. But freshman year, I don't really remember much. I would dress down at the end of the season. Didn't play at all for varsity, but even the experience of dressing down was and being out there with all the guys was fun.
Yeah.
And then sophomore year came, and I was hoping to be on varsity because you played varsity sophomore year, so that's kind of what I was looking up to.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I talked about that too. Just like because my freshman year, like I dressed down every game, but I didn't get to play all the time. Like I played offense, I think like one snap the first game of the season because we were doing well, and then I consistently dressed down and played kick return after that. And yeah, I couldn't remember, or I still don't remember much about like having you around freshman year. Like I knew the majority of, kids would try to dress down for varsity because we needed the numbers, but I don't like, do you ever remember getting in ever to play? Because I feel like I would have remembered if we were able to share the field at any point. Because I was on the field
Yeah.
every every side of the ball except for kickoff. So I just can't remember if we ever.
No, I don't think we shared the field when I was a freshman. I do remember the very first game when I was a freshman on the defensive side of the ball. I tried to play the same positions as you did, running back, and then went to safety.
Yeah.
My first game of high school football, I had a pick six.
Yeah, I remember.
And
I was super jealous. I was so pissed.
Yeah, it was crazy, but I remember I was so slow.
And yeah,
My
like this
feet,
is that
my
is
feet were huge, and I just couldn't.
that's the crazy thing too, is like literally, and not to say like that you were the slowest person, but probably one of the slowest people on the field. And I played 3 years of varsity football as a safety and never once had a pick six, and you come out first game of the season.
First game of my high school career, and I had a pick six.
I do remember. I do remember that, and like that is one of my most vivid memories of the JV season that year. I mean, obviously it's like a little brother thing. Like I was super amped for you. I remember I was like jumping up and down, like screaming, like super excited for you. So I do remember that. So we maybe never shared the field together, but that was a moment that that has stuck with me for a long time
from football. And then going into sophomore year, same thing. I played JV. I would dress down, and then I remember one game. It was a home game. I was able to go out on the field as a sophomore on varsity and as a running back, and I was able to score. I think my second play in, we had a huge line, and that really helped.
Yeah.
They were able to just clear the path for me, and I was just basically a walk-in touchdown. And that was another huge memory for me. I believe you were there after the game.
I remember trying to come to the majority of the games.
Yeah, it was a cool moment after the game because first varsity touchdown. And then, so that kind of stayed the same throughout the sophomore year. I would just dress down and play whenever we were up big.
Right.
And then that coach retired. Was it that year?
Yeah, that year he was done.
So then a new coach came in for my junior year for varsity, and it was a rough one. I
remember talking to you about this.
We didn't win a single game, not even close to winning a single game. And then my love for football kind of went down after that year, and I was debating on whether even to play because it was just going to be the same head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only reason I played was because the old head coach was coming back for the defensive side of the ball. So there was at least a little bit of hope that it was going to be better.
Right.
So I decided to play for my senior year. And then I grew a lot from even junior year to senior year. I put on like 20 pounds or so.
Yeah.
Was in the gym all the time. So I felt good physically. But again, we didn't have much success. We still won a few games, but we didn't really get anywhere.
Right.
We played in the first round of the playoffs, and it was a tough game. They were a big team. Their quarterback was bigger than our linebackers, so I mean that's hard to win.
Yeah.
And then I think I transitioned from playing safety and running back into middle linebacker and fullback my junior year. And then same thing, senior year was kind of fullback, power back type of deal.
I was going to say, because kind of what we mentioned before basketball, you just grew so much and gained a lot of weight from that point on.
Yeah, and then I was able to I was too slow to be a corner or a secondary, so I just
Yeah.
went to a linebacker, which I loved. Linebacker was a lot of fun for me,
Yeah.
and I think I got first team for first team all district for that, so that was good. Um, but yeah, we didn't really have much success as a football program,
Yeah.
really, all throughout my high school.
Yeah, it was tough to watch. I obviously, cared more so about, watching you and just watching you play at that point because I really didn't have any association with the school other than basketball at that point. So you're like your junior year, senior year. I remember going to the majority of the games when I could. And yeah, it was because it just changed so quick because we went from my freshman year to making the state playoffs every year for the next, 6 total years after that, and then your junior year to not winning
Yeah,
any
not
games, and
winning a
then
single game.
not winning any games after that for I think the football program had won maybe 5 total games since your junior year. So I mean, you graduated in 2021,
Yeah,
and we just got a new head coach. Actually, your original grid kid coach is a head coach now, and the last 2 years our football program has kind of turned around, and I've talked about being able to be on the coaching staff with him. I actually teach with him as well, and I I know that everybody has their opinions about certain coaches and whatever, but he is somebody that truly takes the game and makes it X's and O's. And I mean,
yeah,
that's, what it is, but he just thinks about things so deeply. And that's how, my varsity coach was through high school, same way. Like, he's just so adamant about the little details that it makes it easy to just understand the entire game. And I feel like after your sophomore year, junior, senior year, like, it just got to where that was just gone.
yeah, yeah. And he came in with the mentality that he needed to change up the whole program,
Yeah.
and that's hard to do. And it's hard to play for somebody that doesn't really see the field like we do, because we were a very run dominant
Right.
offense, and we like to do those things because it worked for us.
Right.
And then he came in and tried to make us a pass offense, and it was hard because we didn't nobody really ever trained to be a throwing
Right.
quarterback.
Well, yeah, and that's, one thing that we've gotten scrutinized for in the past, even by parents or fans, from our school is we need to pass the ball more. We need to, throw the ball more times than, 8 times a game or whatever. But it's just hard. As a player, sometimes you're like, yeah, we should throw the ball. But then when you see the run working
Yeah,
so well,
yeah,
it's hard to say, we really shouldn't because the run actually works.
yeah.
Just especially when we have, like I had a great line
Huge.
through high school. You guys had a
Yeah,
great line through
yeah.
high school. Like it just worked that way. So why would we, force something that isn't there?
And that
Like
we're
the run
not
game,
comfortable with.
yeah,
You
and
know?
the run game just worked so well. Like you had some upperclassmen, like the grade above you had some phenomenal athletes, some
Yeah,
super skilled guys. I had great athletes in my grade below me as well. So it's like when you have kids that can run the ball well, you just go with it. You shouldn't have
yeah,
to force anything.
yeah. And then we never ever trained for receivers or a quarterback that can make the reads that he needs to make.
Right.
So we ended up turning the ball over like 75% of the time.
Yeah.
We didn't score a lot from junior and senior year. We
Yeah.
really didn't score unless it was on a run.
Well, I even remember you saying like to me a couple times because I would ask like, "Hey, what's going on at practice or whatever," and you're just like, "We don't even like hit each other at
Yeah,
practice. Like
no. We
it's not even like
yeah.
football practice at that point."
The coach was just worried that we didn't have enough numbers if a
Right.
guy goes down. But it's like we have to hit each other. If we don't, then the games are going to reflect that, and it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
The other teams would just bulldoze us, and
Hmm.
we would just be dead in the water.
Yeah.
So
And that's a hard thing. The coach that came when I was a freshman, like he came from a school that was super physical, like they were very aggressive, and that led to them, playing well late in the season, late November, stuff like that. So he brought that same thing. We're a much smaller school than where he came from, but he had the same mentality. Is like you're gonna go hard in practice, and if you don't, then you're going to sit on the sideline because we don't need anybody that's not going to go hard. But yeah, I mean, football should be that way no matter what, numbers or not. Like, you have to have kids that are willing to, do the hard things and push themselves, to perform well. And if you don't, then it's really not going to go well for you.
Yep. And then so after high school, I took a break for it's been 4 years now, and I just tried to go play football again for a semi-pro team locally, and my experience wasn't very good. The team and the coaching just didn't really mesh with what I had envisioned, and then I was able to play in one game for Thanksgiving and didn't play much, but I ended up tearing my shoulder, so I had to go get surgery for that, and I think that's probably it for my football career.
Yeah, it's a tough way to go out. And I mean, that brings up something that I kind of want to hit on too, because I mean, a lot of people get hurt through doing athletics or whatever, but is there any ever time that you, other than the shoulder just now, like that you got injured pretty badly?
Yeah, so it was my sophomore year of I think freshman or sophomore year, I don't really remember now, but I tore my meniscus in football, and it was towards the middle endish of the season, so it wasn't like I missed the whole season, but
Right.
I still missed 3 or 4 games, and then into
Well,
basketball
I don't
a little
remember
bit.
that. I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, it was. I want to say it was my sophomore year that I tore. It was my left knee, my meniscus. Yeah, so I missed about a quarter of the season for football, and then I wasn't sure if I was even going to play basketball. So that was kind of tough mentally to try to keep it positive, but
Right.
yeah, it was that's really the only other injury from sports that I can remember.
Yeah, I didn't even know that you had torn your meniscus, but I mean, it's good that it was something minor like that, because I know, like, when I hurt my knee my senior year, like, I know I probably should have got it checked on and fixed or whatever, but I was just so adamant about playing basketball. Like, I didn't want to miss any time. And even during football, like, it happened about halfway through the season, and after that, the doctor even said, like, you probably gonna have to rest like 4 or 5 weeks. And I was like, I really can't do that. Like, we had multiple games that we still had to play, plus a decent chance going deep into the playoffs. So I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
So I sat out a couple weeks at practice, but I would play the games that week, just because I was like, I'm not gonna take this time off. Like, I only have a few games left of my high school career, so I'm not gonna take it off. Even though it affected me, even today, like, I'm still having knee problems, but to me, it was worth it, honestly. But yeah, so basketball, football, and then, same kind of thing with basketball. Like, we had a very different experience with track as well, and I've talked about track too, because I started in 6th grade, which I think is when you started too.
6th grade as well.
And I know I did 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, which you did as well, right? And then my freshman year, I didn't do track, but you did through junior year. But then, or no, it was your junior year.
It was my junior year that got cut off.
Yeah, we had COVID.
From COVID.
Yeah. So going into that, and it's going to kind of lead me into another talking point after we are done talking about the track season. What were your thoughts, like, because you were a junior in high school, your junior year is almost over, and I don't know if you had started track at that point or not.
We were only
it was
for
probably
a few
close.
weeks.
Yeah. So what was what were you thinking at the time when you heard that, school was canceled, track was getting canceled, like, the world kind of shut down for a little while? Because I didn't experience anything like I wasn't in school. I had a job where I could still work every day.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
So, I mean, just like every high school kid, or really any school kid in general, when they hear that school's out for the year, you're like, that's awesome. I mean, I don't have to go back to doing these classes or anything. And then with sports, it was hard for sports. I love sports.
Right.
That's what I look forward to every day after school is
Hmm.
going to practices, go to meets during the day, or games during the day, whatever.
Right.
Um, so it was kind of a win-lose situation there, but then it turned out to be a lose-lose situation because you still had to do your schoolwork.
Right.
Still had to go do um, all the papers, all the reading assignments, all that sort of stuff. But it
Hmm.
was just a different dynamic. Nobody really knew what was going to go on. The online schooling was just barely, um,
Barely a thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
barely a thing. So it was kind of rough around the edges for the teachers, and yeah, it turned out to be just not good throughout
Right.
everything.
Because and again, this was like a time where we weren't super close. Like we didn't talk on the daily, so I didn't really know. Like obviously for me, I didn't care that school was canceled, whatever,
Yeah.
because it didn't matter so much to me. Um, but I now as a teacher like can understand like kind of how difficult it may have been because even when I'm gone for a day, like having to come up with all of those different things and figure out something to do for every kid is super difficult. And I couldn't even imagine like as a student, especially because, our high school issues Chromebooks. Did you have Chromebooks at that time from the school?
Um, yeah, we had Chromebooks that we were issued, and I think we were just able to buy them that year at the start of the year for ourselves. So I ended up buying one. Um, so the Chromebooks helped a
Right.
little bit, but the teachers really didn't have due dates for things, so that was kind of um, in my head. I was like, oh, I can just put that off. I can
Right.
go play the video games with my friends,
Right.
whatever. And then as it went on, I kept putting it off, putting it off, putting it off, and then all of a sudden it was like a week left of school, and
Right.
I was like, oh man, this is gonna suck.
Right.
And looking back, I put that all on all the teachers, just like I'm assuming half the
Right.
class did
Yeah.
or half the school did.
Right.
That was probably a rough time for them,
Yeah.
and stressful for everybody trying to get grades in, trying to finish their homework, finish
Right.
and to be able to pass. So that was
Right.
definitely interesting.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine being a student or a teacher at the time of COVID,
Yeah,
and then let alone being a student athlete, especially those that are super involved
yeah,
with, track, baseball, softball, any other spring sport out there. Like that was a huge shockwave for everybody
hmm
at that time. And I know like when I was, shocked to hear that school was getting shut down. But then, like, it really did kind of break my heart just a little bit when you had told me that, like, track also was canceled because it's just like I know how much, we care about sports
yeah,
and how much it is like a part of our lives,
hmm
especially at that time. So it was like I was more concerned about, that than anything else. But then going into, obviously it was just track that got canceled, but going into like football season, your senior year, like, did it feel like it was difficult to get back into like I'm doing sports again, or what was the transition from that?
The transition really wasn't bad for me because we had a basketball hoop at home, so I would always be outside when I could,
Right.
and I would always I would still be exercising, still be like trying to perfect something in basketball,
Right.
really, because I couldn't play football. I could run, but I didn't like to run for fun
Right.
if I didn't have to.
Yeah.
So really, basketball was my thing that whole year, and then coming back into the school year of the next year in football, it was kind of weird because we were all like, "Are we actually gonna have football season? Are we actually gonna go to school?" We were still kind of in the weird
Right.
in between, but
So I mean, you may not remember, but when or what month before school started do you remember like hearing for sure that you were going to be able to go back? And what was it like once you got into school? Like, because I remember, I mean, that winter is when I started coaching
mhm,
basketball. So, and I know like we had to wear masks to
yeah,
like games and like we were supposed to wear them during practice. So, like,
hmm
especially going into school, like, masks were a big thing. But like football, I mean, you're still in contact with
yeah.
people. So, like, were you asked to wear masks during practice or what was that like during games?
Yeah, we weren't. Our school in general just really wasn't like that strict on it.
Mm-hmm.
But for football games, I don't remember a single person wearing a mask on
Right.
either side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little different. But then going into basketball season, it was the school gave out masks,
Mm-hmm.
branded with our
Yeah.
team and everything.
Yeah.
That
I
were
mean, they looked cool.
Yeah, they looked cool,
Yeah.
but they were cloth masks and they were bad.
Yeah, they sucked to wear.
But we were. It wasn't like the bigger schools in like California and stuff. They were actually supposed to
Playing
wear
with
them
them.
in game.
Yeah.
We were just wearing them in the gym before the game, and
Mm-hmm.
then when it was our time to play, we could take them off.
Yeah.
But the fans were asked to use them. I didn't ever really.
Yeah, I don't remember because, like I said, I that was my first year coaching. I don't remember a lot of people wearing them, but I do remember like the capacity for the games was
Yeah, so
limited
it
to like
was
parents only.
we our us at least we were given 2 or 3 tickets.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So for parents and then for some one other person or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So the games for basketball they were hard to
It
get
sucked.
into.
Yeah,
Um,
it was tough.
it was like it felt like a practice really,
Yeah,
and it was hard. It was hard to go in and try to be able to get hype
mm-hmm.
because the gym is just so much quieter
Right.
with only 50 people or whatever
Right.
in the gym.
And I remember like there was a point where as the season went on, the capacity started to go up a little bit.
Yeah.
And through that year of basketball, that year was different than other years, especially in the district tournament. Like the home team was able to host, or the higher seeded team was able to host that year. And I do remember, I don't know if it was every game of the play or the district tournament, but I just remember like I think it was your last game that it was like we had everybody that
Yeah.
was willing to come could come
Mhm.
because the restrictions kind of had been lifted at that point.
Yeah, so I don't think it was even that long into the season where it kind of got lifted and people were able to actually come in and
Mhm.
the students were actually able to come in, and I think we only had to deal with the no fans for 3 or 4 games is all, and then it kind of just went away, and then the game started to get more hype and we were actually playing like a basketball team because before it was like really quiet, really like
Right.
nobody wanted to be loud because
Mhm.
it was just
It's just kind of awkward
yeah,
at
it was
that
just
point.
awkward. You could hear everything, so I'm sure everybody in the stands could hear me swear at
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, oh, gotta be careful now.
Right.
But then going on into like midway through the season, it changed completely, and it was back.
Right.
It felt like it was back to normal.
Yeah.
And then the only thing that changed after that was the district tournament. Because usually we would go to everybody would go to one location for the whole tournament and
Right.
play at one gym. And then that year we, the higher seed got to go
Mhm.
have home court advantage, and
Yeah. And it stayed that way for a couple of years actually.
That year we got our first round in the playoffs or the district tournament. We were able to host, played the team, beat them, and then had to wait a game because we got a bye round, and then we're able to host the same team again coming back, and we ended up losing that game, and it's just a 1-game elimination, one and done.
Mm-hmm.
So we lost that game to end our season, and it was hard,
Yeah.
but at least we were able to have everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it was packed gym for that last
Yeah.
game.
I do remember it was like, and I know we kind of came back to basketball, but I mean, it brings up something that I think we should talk about at this point is like, it always is the dreaded moment, your final basketball game or final football game or whatever. So let's maybe kind of walk through slowly or quickly the final games that you played, football, basketball. I mean, even going into track, the state or the state track meet as well.
Yeah.
So football,
Yeah.
who'd you like? You remember who you played? Kind of what happened during that game?
Yeah. So in football, we made it to the first round of the playoffs. We were playing Bear Lake, which is a powerhouse. I think we were one of the bottom teams. We were playing one of the top teams,
Mm-hmm.
and they were a lot bigger than us. But we came out and we actually did pretty well throughout the first half of the game. We were back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
and then that second half of the game, we kind of got smashed a little bit.
Yeah, kind of fell apart a little bit.
Yeah, and so then going into the final quarter, we were just in scramble mode, trying everything.
Yeah.
When I was in Grid Kid, we had this play, the halfback pass. So they'd pitch the ball back to the running back, and then the running back would go throw the ball
Mm-hmm.
to a receiver or whatever. So we actually tried that, and I was the quarterback. I ended up being the quarterback after the pitch. So I
Right.
got the ball and was able to try to throw it. I think we tried it twice in that possession, and it just didn't work. We were just kind of just throwing.
Yeah.
We were trying to trying to score at least.
Yeah, I
Not
remember.
trying to win the game, but I know after my last attempt at that play, it was game over.
Right.
So right as soon as I threw it, I knew it was going to be bad, and it ended up being either an interception or whatever it was,
Yeah.
incomplete. But we were at fourth down, and right there I was like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I remember. I mean, yeah, knowing that you guys were a lower seeded team in the bracket, knowing that it, wasn't favorable for us, I just remember, being really excited the first half, but, there's kind of always that sense of, well, what's going to happen, like what's going to go wrong, whatever. But then in the second half, it just seemed like it was penalty ridden, like you guys just couldn't get it going again. And then, yeah, just, that moment of realization, like,
yeah,
holy shit, this is our last moment.
yeah,
Like this is the last time I'm gonna step on a field.
yeah.
And it's a tough thing. Like
After that last offensive drive, the game wasn't fully over, but we had to come back on defense, and I was on defense, and I couldn't even really keep my composure.
right.
I was crying. I mean, it was the last game of my high school career, and it was hard because we had a decent season that year, especially after coming back from a 0-win
Mm-hmm.
year. So it was kind of like this is it. But
Yeah.
we at least gave it our all,
Yeah.
and then in the locker room afterwards, it was kind of disappointing that a lot of my teammates weren't as sad as I was.
Yeah.
So right there, I was like, these guys weren't really into it like I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's how it is a lot of the time.
And I think it's starting to happen a lot more. Like, a lot of people just do these things because they can, not because they're, in like super committed or involved in them. And, same thing, like, my last football game, I know that, there was at least 3 of us seniors that were super dedicated. I mean, we've spent the last 9 years playing this game,
Yeah.
and we've poured our hearts into doing as best as we can. So, like, I just remember looking over at them, and, all 3 of us were just crying because we knew we were done for the year. We were done playing the game of football. And it sucks. It's a hard thing.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's overseen now because, like you said, nobody really does that anymore. Nobody's really that invested anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it sucks to be part of a team that you have people like that. And, I had 5 other or 4 other or 5 other classmates that played our senior year, and those 3 of us that were super invested, we spent all this time playing. The other 3 or whatever, like, not really that emotional. It's just like, we're like, if you're not going to be here for the right reasons, then why are you here at all?
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
of thing. But yeah, I mean, that's football, and kind of the same thing. Like at some point it comes to an end.
Yep.
So basketball, we just talked about how COVID affected the season, and at that point of the season, everybody's able to come to the games.
Yeah.
We're playing at home, and then kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, so playing at home, we had really high hopes for that game, and we just beat these guys the past game, and we felt good, and I think that kind of ended up biting us in the butt because we were like, yeah, we just beat these guys by whatever, 15, 20 points,
Yeah.
and we're just going to walk over these guys and then on to the next. But
Yeah.
It turned out to be at halftime. I think we were down by a
Decent amount. Yeah.
decent chunk at halftime, and then we were trying to claw back. But they had already had the momentum at that point, and it
I
was
mean, kudos
just
to them. They had probably one of the best shooters in high school basketball
yeah,
at the time across the state.
yeah. And he definitely shot lights out against us, and
Yeah, he lit it up for sure.
as soon as he had that first 2 or 3 makes, it was just boom, boom, boom,
Pulling them
boom,
from
boom.
8 feet back.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was insane.
it's hard to guard that, but at the same time, I know we had the skill to. We were just kind of baffled.
Yeah.
We're like, whoa, we're gonna actually have
Like
to.
these guys
This
came
is
out
gonna
to
be a
play
game.
today. Yeah.
And then I know going into the last couple minutes of that game, I was like, it'd be tough, but we could
Yeah.
come back. We could do this, but it was just they just kept anything we did, they'd come back and match it type of deal. And then same thing that happened with football. It was people were emotional for the first couple minutes, but then I usually stay back in the locker room like, well, this is my last time,
Right.
And it was the same deal after a few minutes after the coach's talk was done. It was like nothing ever happened. They were
Right.
all joking around, and
Yeah.
I know me and probably 2 or 3 other guys were like, that was it.
Yeah.
That's done for this, done for basketball, and after that there was I don't get to be on the court with these guys anymore. I don't get to be even on the same sport as these guys because a lot of them didn't do track like I did.
Right.
So yeah, it was kind of the same experience though. Is people don't care, and it sucks because I love basketball. Basketball's my
Yeah.
number one sport.
Yeah.
Was my number one sport in high school, and still is a huge part. And so it kind of sucks to see that
Right.
my friends are like, they don't really care. So,
Right. Yeah. And I mean, fortunately enough for you, it was the last time that you got to play an organized game in high school. And I will say that was like one of the coolest experiences to be able to watch because, I was able to coach. I was able to watch you play your last couple of games. But watching you play at the All-Star game, it's like, when you are through the season, it's like you want to be as structured as possible. Like you want to do as well as you can because you have these certain things you're supposed to do during season.
Yep.
But then during the All-Star game, it was just like, it was so fun to watch because it was like the first time I felt I had seen you play like free basketball
just let loose and
and just kind of do your
let it
thing.
flow.
And you did join the dunk contest, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I can't remember too much of that. I remember that I videoed a couple dunks, like the winning kid that won. I mean, crazy throwing the windmills in high school.
Yeah.
I mean,
They were-
around here especially.
They were studs for sure, and going into that, I wasn't sure if I was gonna do it or not, and I had an idea, and I couldn't really dunk very
Right.
well.
Yeah.
I could do little rim grazers here and there,
Right.
but I went out and
But honestly, rim grazers at that point, like if you
that
could
was-
at least look like you threw it in the hoop,
Yeah.
you were gonna get a
But
10.
I went out and tried to do something I've never done before: a bounce off the floor, bounce off the glass, and try to catch and dunk. And I got close, I think, from what I remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I thought you came close on one that would have been pretty sweet if you had got
It
it.
would have definitely advanced me to the next round. But then after that, I was like, if I did get advanced, I don't know what I was gonna do.
Right.
And then the All-Star game was super cool. I got to play with one of my other teammates, made it as well. So, and then playing with the other
And one
guys,
that you played with from second grade.
Yeah,
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
played together for a long time.
we played together for a long time, and was able to play one more game with him. And then it was kind of weird because like we're not enemies by any means on the other teams, but I got to play with the guys that I've been competing against from second grade.
Yeah.
And that was definitely really fun for me. Not really talking to any of those guys before during the games because I'm trying to beat these guys.
Right.
And then playing with them, it was completely different. It was
Yeah.
like just
It's a whole different
yeah,
vibe.
it was so cool.
It's so much cooler.
And then they had a little 3-point contest as well. And as I said before, my 3-point game was just
Right.
meh.
Yeah.
I can make one if I'm wide open and like one every 3
Yeah.
shots, whatever. But we did okay in that too. It was kind of a weird structure where you played with a boy and a girl, and trying to make the most amount. But
Yeah.
Um, and then, so after that All Star game, just playing in the gym, like at lunch or whatever, just messing around, me and a couple of the guys on my team. I actually got my first windmill dunk. Um, it was actually a pretty good one. Right, I mean, not even a week after the All Star game, and I was like, "Where was this at?"
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
wow.
that's the one, like, the one that you had the dunk on that kid, right? Or was that a different one?
Yeah, that was a different one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say
So
we should put that in here
yeah,
because that's a pretty sweet video
I
because
mean,
you were in high school still at that
yeah,
point.
I
I think
was
that was
just at the end of
this
the
yeah the
year,
spring of your senior
spring. Yeah,
year.
it was asked for track practice, I think,
Yeah,
for a weekend or whatever. But we were in track, and even now, like my hops have been
yeah,
way up
way
since
up
high
since then.
school, and
Yeah,
it's just crazy to see. But it was a good time playing
yeah, and
basketball.
then going into track season now. We just referenced. You did track sixth, seventh, eighth grade, and then up to junior year you did it,
Yep.
and then senior year you were able to come back, compete, and I tried to make more track meets that year. I actually was going to volunteer that year,
Hmm.
but then things just didn't work out. I didn't have the time, but I was super invested because up to that point you hadn't gone to state, right? At that point.
Nope, not up to my senior year was the first year.
Yeah, and it was I think it was a couple no, I think it was a couple meets into the year. I remember, because I did triple jump in high
Okay.
school, and I just remember a couple meets into the year, like I was at your meet, and your jumping coach came over to me and was like, "Hey," or said something about whether you were wanting to try it or I had suggested that you try it or something, and he was just like, "Hey, can you like help him like with triple jump? Like I don't know really much about it." So I just remember walking onto the field and be like, "Hey, I mean, let me watch you do one jump and then I'll kind of see where you're at from
Yeah.
there." So I don't know if that was like the first meet that you did it or if you had done it before that or even years prior to that. But through your senior year, I tried to go to as many track meets as I could, to watch. And then I just remember you going, you know, to the state track meet, probably the worst state track meet that ever
Yeah.
has existed.
Yeah.
But kind of walk us through the year, kind of, what you did, kind of your peaks at times, like
Yeah.
your PRs, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, so when I started track, I tried to do the same events that you did, which was mainly hurdles.
Hmm.
Not triple jump. I didn't do triple jump. I know that was a huge event for you. So I just did hurdles was my big one that I really wanted to be good at.
Hmm.
And then I did discus, which you never did. So that was
I
the
did in
one.
junior high, but then I
Okay.
stopped doing it
Yeah,
after
so that
that.
was I think that was the one thing that I stuck with that was different or tried to be different at least. And then I would be forced to do like the 100 or the 200 whatever.
Right.
And then I would do long jump. So it was either 100, 200, and then the rest were long jump, hurdles, and then discus.
Hmm.
So you're allowed four events. I don't know if it's more than that in high school or not, but in
Yeah,
junior
just four.
high,
Yeah,
yeah,
you can
so
do four.
four throughout. And then I stuck with those for until the freshman or sophomore year. I think sophomore year, because I had to race against the one of your
Defending
competitors.
state
Yeah, I
champion.
had to race against him
Yeah.
in hurdles my freshman year, and he was, I mean, tall, lengthy kid. Knew what he
Absolute
was
stud.
knew what he
Absolute
was
stud.
doing, and I was just like, wow, this is not good.
Yeah.
It was the last. I don't know why I got matched against him the last heat of the whole
Hmm.
thing, but I got absolutely destroyed. But that kind of, I was like, I'm gonna use that to be better. I'm gonna try to be better at hurdles.
Hmm.
And then sophomore year came, and I I was having troubles. I couldn't get over the hurdles. I tried 300 hurdles, and I ate it. And that was the last time I did that. I did it one time, and then same thing with the 110 hurdles. I just something mentally I couldn't do it.
Right.
So I fell two times that year, and then I was like, I told the coach I was done. I wasn't gonna do hurdles anymore. And then
Right.
I don't remember what my replacement thing was after that. I don't know if I had one. But then
Yeah, I
going
just remember
into
you doing long and then discus. Like those are the two
yeah, those are
main
my
ones
two
after
big
that.
ones that I had that I really loved. And then going into senior year, same thing. I had the same long jump and discus, and then I would just do whatever running that they wanted me to do, just because. I mean, they had
Oh, and then high jump. High jump was one that you kind of adopted.
high jump and triple jump. I kind of got towards the middle to end of the senior season, and then I ended up going to in the district meet. I was able to place and be able to go to state in both of those, as well as long jump and discus.
Yeah, you were a 4-event state athlete that year.
I made it in all 4 of my events, and then going into state for that. High jump was my first event that I did, and they were starting at my PR.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of sucky, but hey, I'm here.
Yeah, I remember like it was, and it wasn't favorable conditions either. Like
No,
it was
wet,
rainy, it was windy, like
and that end of the track was tore up.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah, that was one of the last seasons they actually did on that track, and then they redid it after that.
I ended up failing on all those jumps, but I at least made it.
Yeah.
I think it was like 6.
Sorry, you got a little.
I think it was like starting at 6 foot, and that was my previous PR, and I wasn't able to beat it, but that's okay. I made it.
You made it there
with like 4 weeks of practice.
Yeah.
So I felt good about that, and then after that, it was either long jump or triple jump. My long jump, I PR'd at like, I want to say it was 21 or something around ballpark 21. Right. And I didn't place in that either, but I at least PR'd at the state meet, which is what you want.
Right.
What you want to see.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want.
And then same thing with triple jump. It was kind of rough for me at triple jump.
Yeah.
I was just in my head, got the jitters.
Yeah.
Throughout the meets that I did do triple jump, I would beat these kids that I was going against. A few of them, beat them, and then going into that, I had scratched the first 2, and then I was just trying to get a mark for my last one. So yeah, I scratch. I was all upset, flustered, whatever, and then the triple jump and long jump coach was just like, calm down, just go get a mark. It's okay, whatever. So yeah, I ended up going and just getting a mark. Wasn't anything special.
Right.
I was just there so I didn't get a 0, really.
Yeah.
Just trying to get a non-zero. And then going into discus, it was kind of the same thing. The ring was slick.
Yeah, it was just super wet that whole weekend.
I didn't have throwing shoes. I was just in sneakers, and everybody else, I mean, they're bombing it out there.
Right.
They can spin a lot better than me, and I was just it's hard to practice discus, a throwing event, and then also all these other ones that are like, they need my time.
Also technical as well. Yeah.
And then so like I got there and I just got like 100 foot, and my previous PR was like a 120.
Yeah.
So it was way lower than what I wanted, but yeah, it was, the whole weekend wasn't the best for me, but I was still happy that I made it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the coolest things, like, yeah, it's cool to walk away with a medal and everything, but, you know, that was actually my goal my senior year too, of like, I just want to make it in 4 events. And like, I was, you know, a previous medal in the events that I went for in track, but my senior year, I was just like, I want to go in 4 events because not many people can even say they did that. And especially with you doing high jump and triple jump, you know, that late into the season, and only doing it your senior year, like, is super impressive. You know, that, I mean, only speaks to your athletic ability at the time, and even, you know, to this day. But I also kind of wanted to backtrack a little bit and go to your freshman year, my senior year, because it is one of like the vivid memories I have of us in track together. Because I know we're able to run a couple relays together that year.
4x1.
Yeah,
I believe.
and that was my coach in high school, our varsity coach. She was, I mean, probably my favorite coach through all of high school. And, you know, I remember just saying like, hey, I want to run a 4x1 or a 4x2, whatever. And we didn't really know people that were going to run it at the time. Like, we had a couple kids that were kind of in and out of, you know, wanting to do it or not do it. Couple injuries as well for kids. So we were just like, well, let's throw one together. And I was just like, you know what? I haven't been the greatest of big brothers, but I want to be able to run this with my little brother. So I thought that was cool. We did that a couple meets.
Yep.
And I know, I mean, we weren't fast by any means,
No.
but it was just cool to be able to share that experience because, like the other sports, we didn't really get to share the
Yep.
field or the court at any of the same times. So that was something I wanted to hit on. But then, yeah, with track, it's like because even though you've spent just as much time or close to the same amount of time as you did with football, it's like with track, it's much less emotional because, like, hey guys, sorry to take you away from the video, but at this point, my microphone does die, so the audio level that you can hear me at is from my brother's microphone. So I apologize. I hope you've enjoyed listening. Now back to the video. You've came this far and you were able to get to the point, like the very best spot that you can be as a high school competitor in the state. Like you were able to make it to the state track meet. So it's
Yep.
like it's emotional that it's over and it sucks that it's over because you still want to do better, but like at that point you're like I made it to this spot
Yep.
and I can be proud of myself for doing that.
Yep.
And even now, like track is probably my number one. Like I love being involved with it. I love coaching it, and there's so much more positivity and kind of freedom in track. So I mean, not to say that it's not emotional because it is for some
Yep.
people more so than not. Like I was super emotionally invested in track, but I didn't let that get me down if I didn't perform exactly how I wanted to at state because I was like I made it here
Yep.
and I did everything I could. There's just some people that are more talented or have put more time into these events that I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, track is one thing that I've always loved, and I think it was I was super proud of you your senior year when you made it in 4 events because I was like not many people do that.
Yep.
I only did that one time in high school, and I did track for 3 years in high school, and my senior year was the only year that I ever made it in 3 events, or 4 events. So I was like, that's super impressive.
Yeah, and
for
I don't
you.
know if I don't think anybody else did my year. I think I was the only one that had 4 years
Yeah,
or
and-
4 event.
And
So that
there's
felt pretty good.
yeah, there's not many that do ever really. Like there was a couple girls that were were a year younger than me that like were speed demons, so they made it in pretty much everything they went in. But like after that, it was you know 2 maybe 3 events if they were lucky.
Yep.
So super impressive, super great accomplishment. And I know we spent a lot of time talking about your story of sports. A couple other questions. Um, what would you say is your favorite moment of your entire high school career through all sports? Like if you had to pinpoint a number one spot, what would you say?
Ooh, that's a tough question. My tops that I can think of would be that pick six. That was huge for me. And then I know in basketball I had a few. Well, no, I think just one time that I tried to dunk on somebody in Chalice, and I think that was one of my better memories. But I think all time my favorite sports moment that happened in high school was district tournament going. It was my sophomore year district tournament. We were playing our rivals, the Firth, and I was put in for the game. I played a few minutes that game, but in those few minutes, had a shot in the corner of corner three, right in front of our student section, that I was able to shoot, and I was able to make it. And then right after that, a defensive possession. It was a fast break, 1-on-1. I was on defense, and I was able to get a block on I think he was a senior, but having that experience as a sophomore was like it was crazy because you had the whole crowd just hype, and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably my best moment in high school.
I actually remember being at that game, and that like you guys actually ended up beating Firth.
Yep, and we don't beat Firth. We didn't beat Firth anyways.
Yeah, that was a team that our school
I-
struggles with, and
Yep.
like to this day still continues to struggle playing against. Like they have some very athletic talent there, and I just remember like, yeah, I was there at that game. I remember being there, and I was like, holy crap! Like I know like your three plus the defensive effort was like a huge swing in the game.
Yeah.
Like I think it was like we were down by 1 at that point. You
Yeah,
hit
we
that
were
shot.
we were back and forth the whole game, and then I was able to come in the game and have that corner shot out of whatever offense we ran. That got us super hype. Had our student section, our fans just cheering as loud as ever, and then yeah, having that defensive possession was also huge. He tried to draw a foul, but I was able to somehow get a block. I don't really
I
know
don't
how
remember
that
the block,
happened.
but I just remember the offensive side of the floor. Just like I remember, I was like jumping up and down. Like I was super hyped for that as well. I totally forgot about that moment.
Yeah,
But that
before
was,
then my basketball game was kind of like mid-level, like, and I think that's what kind of jumped me to another level
right.
of playing ball was that game.
And then let's go to the opposite side. Like, what would you say was the hardest moment or the most difficult time in your athletic career?
Definitely ending that junior year of football was like, I was 90% sure I wasn't going to play senior year if that guy stuck around to be a coach.
Yeah.
So that was by
That's a tough
far
thing to go
by
through.
far the hardest thing that I had to like really think about, and I talked to so many people about it. I talked to our mom about it. I don't know if I ever talked to you about it just because we weren't really like,
Right.
I think you were either in college or just going to work, whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember talking to you much about it after. I mean, I knew you had a hard season, and I knew like you were struggling, but I don't think I ever knew that you were questioning whether or not to play football at that point. But yeah. And then if you had any advice for your younger self, what would you say?
I would have told, even as far back as like sixth grade, just to keep at it, because there was times where I would dink around and just not really give up my best, like some track meets, in particular, where the meets just not be feeling it that day, whatever, or that practice is not feel it, and just skip out on doing whatever. Not really as much in football and basketball, but I know there was times where there was just I didn't want to be there, but I would just say to work harder and just stay passionate with it.
Kind of the last thing that's, like I said, could be controversial. Give us your all-time, all-sport athlete starting five.
Okay, starting five, any sport.
Any sport.
Well, Tiger Woods has to be on there. I've recently adopted golf.
Right.
I think just within the last 4 years, 5 years, whatever. So seeing what he did in his career is crazy. So he's definitely up there. My basketball idol, Kobe Bryant. He's probably number one on my list, all-time athlete. Just because he was an amazing player, and his mentality of things was kind of what I wanted to be like. Never could get there, just because that's just like
He's
almost
on a
impossible.
completely different level, yeah.
And then let's see. Going with Kobe, Shaq. I mean, they're a dominant duo. He's definitely up there. Phil Mickelson, same thing. It's probably going to be mostly golfers and basketball players because I don't really have a football like anybody that's crazy high.
Right.
So Phil Mickelson, he's definitely up there just because he changed the game of golf with the flop shot and trying to hit those crazy shots in tournament where other people are like just dinking around.
Dude is a wizard for sure.
So those four for sure, and then Michael Jordan has got to be on there too.
Okay.
Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant are greatest basketball players that I've ever. Didn't get to see either one of them play really in their primes ever. Definitely not Michael Jordan. But seeing tape, seeing his like the Last Dance documentary is just puts it into a different perspective for me. So.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you coming in and talking to me. Something cool. definitely gonna have you back sometime. We'll have to figure something else out, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Um, and that's all for today. Like I said, I appreciate Kyson for coming on, sharing the experience with sports. I mean, we both super enjoy everything about sports. I mean, basketball, golf now is, one that we obviously do more of now. So, also in the comment section down below, please congratulate Kyson as well. He just became a new dad.
Yep.
2 weeks ago as of day of release of this episode. So proud of him for that. Congratulations to him. Also, hit that subscribe button down below. Please come back for more. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, peace.